friend. Blink.
Coming at you live from Studio One in the bell tower at Holy Flame Castle. Eskalon Online. Daily recap. Pot.
Ever find yourself scrolling through your group chat thinking, man, this would make for one heck of a fantasy novel?
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Well, that's kind of where we're at today. We're diving into these chat logs from a world called Eskalon, specifically a day in the life of a group calling themselves the Fellowship of the Donna.
And let me tell you, this is anything but your average group chat.
You got that right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking snappers, blue thuns, the sumph. This is not your grandma's online book club. So what we're aiming for today is to figure out just who these Donna folks are, what makes them tick, and what this one hunting trip of theirs can tell us about them.
And what I find really interesting is how much we can actually unpack from these seemingly normal messages, especially when we think about them in the context of Eskalon. Take the name Sumpf, for example.
Okay, sumph, lay it on us.
Well, it's German for swamp, which makes you think right. We're talking about a home base that's pretty harsh, pretty isolated.
So like their own little wild corner in this big old world. And it does make you wonder, did they pick that isolation? Or is that just how other folks see them kind of rough around the edges? Are we dealing with a respected guild here or something a little more, shall we say, feared? Something that likes to stay hidden in the shadows?
Exactly. And then there are the names they use. Each one kind of hints at how they're organized. Like we've got Thessalia, Master Hunter. That right there tells you she's the big boss.
Yeah, Master Hunter, you don't get a title like that by just messing around in the virtual tavern. That's got to come with some serious skills, a whole lot of leadership experience, and probably a healthy dose of respect from the others, maybe even a little fear, who knows?
For sure. And then you've got someone like Johannes, Hunter. Even in digital form, you can practically feel the boisterous energy.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy who'd run headfirst into any challenge, especially if it involves something with, as he so eloquently puts it, 2 or 4 legs.
Ah, don't you worry. We'll get to Johannes and his love for hunting in a bit. But first, I gotta ask about Aegon. He seems like the more practical one of the bunch. Always thinking about logistics, always prepared. Like when he offered to bring firewood for the spider hunt. Total mom friend, right?
Absolutely. And that practical side of him seems like it comes from experience. Yeah. Especially when you see how he reacts to those goblins later on in the logs.
Yeah.
Almost scared, you could say. There's definitely some history there, wouldn't you say? Some past encounter that's made him understandably cautious.
Which just goes to show, these aren't just any old chat logs, are they? This is a glimpse into their past, their relationships, the very real dangers they deal with in this world of Eskalon.
So, speaking of danger, let's dive into this hunt, shall we?
Yeah, it's kind of wild, right? I mean, they're talking about hunting these creatures like it's just another Tuesday.
I know, right? You'd think they were deciding where to grab lunch, not heading out into a world crawling with snappers and blue thuns. And remember when Johansson mentions the hunter camp being empty? You almost get the feeling that they're surprised more people aren't out there wrestling these things.
It really does make you think about what they must be used to. Like, this is their normal. Kind of makes you grateful for a boring old Tuesday sometimes, huh?
No kidding.
Yeah.
But speaking of those creatures, can we talk about how easily they take down those snappers? Like it's nothing. These guys are pros. Definitely. Makes you wonder, though, how living with that kind of constant danger changes a person. Do they get, desensitized to it all? Or does it make them even more aware, like their senses are always on high alert?
Well, their little run-in with the goblins tells me they haven't gone completely fearless just yet. Aegon's reaction to those things is like a splash of cold water on their parade.
Totally. And the goblins hit different than the snappers, don't they? You can tell they really freak Aegon out. Like there's something specific about them that just sets him off. It's more than just your average monster encounter.
It makes you think there's a whole backstory there, right? Some past encounter that really left its mark on him. And we're only getting these little snippets of it through their messages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it reminds you that even though this world of Eskalon is fantastical, it's not a game. There are real consequences, real dangers lurking behind these seemingly normal conversations.
For sure. And it's not just the creatures themselves, is it? There's that whole thing with the regiment, too. Seems like there's some bad blood there. Maybe a rivalry over resources, territory, who knows?
It's interesting, right? The way Johann is all gung-ho to go after them, but Kessely is more cautious. Makes you think about their different roles in the group. Johans, maybe he's looking for a fight, wants to prove himself. And Thessalia, the leader, she's got to think about the bigger picture, right? Can't just go rushing into things.
But even with goblins running around and this regiment out there, they still decide to climb that mountain. Talk about adventurous.
Or maybe Just a little bit crazy. I mean, they could have packed it up and gone home. They had plenty of loot already. But I guess that's just who they are, you know? They got to see what's over the next hill. Curiosity always wins out in the end.
And that curiosity is what leads them to their next big discovery, isn't it? The Stonehenge and that vein of gold. Suddenly, this isn't just a hunting trip anymore. It's like they stumbled onto a treasure map, right? Except the treasure's not at the end of the map. It's right there at their feet.
And it's their reaction to finding all that gold that's really telling. I mean, remember how careful they were with the goblins? And then they just shrug off the troll like it's no big deal. You start to realize this gold is more than just, well, gold. It's a game changer.
It's like they found the mother lode, but they're the only ones who know about it. At least for now. Makes you wonder, how's this going to change things between them? Will it bring them closer or tear them apart?
That's the thing about sudden wealth, isn't it? It's not always rainbows and sunshine. Think about those old gold rushes. Back in the day, whole towns turned upside down, folks fighting over every nugget. The Donna crew might be in a fantasy world, but they're still human, right? With human desires, human flaws.
And we were already seeing some of those flaws before the gold even showed up. Johannes, always itching for action, maybe not always seeing eye to eye with Thessalia, and Aegon looking for his own path, maybe dreaming of a quieter life. This gold could be the thing that finally pushes them over the edge, for better or for worse.
It's like that saying, easy come, easy go. Except in this case, it's more like hard-won discovery, potential for chaos. And that's what makes the Fellowship of the Donna so fascinating, don't you think?
Yeah.
They're like a mirror to our own world, just with added snappers and trolls.
Well said.
All right, so get ready to dive into Eskalon Online with us today, specifically their city faction regiment. We got our hands on what seemed to be some leaked chat logs. And, well, let's just say this isn't your average training session.
Yeah, you could say that again. It's definitely interesting to see how they initiate new recruits.
Interesting is one word for it. So imagine this. You're a brand new recruit, all decked out in your uniform, ready to prove yourself. You're standing at the edge of the ocean, and your commander, Brock, tells you to jump in and swim. Oh, I forgot to mention, senior regiment members are on the shore firing blunted arrows at you.
It's definitely a trial by fire, literally.
You think there's a method to all this chaos?
Oh, absolutely. You gotta remember, Eskalon Online is known for its brutal gameplay and realism. This kind of training, as crazy as it sounds, might be Brock's way of making sure his recruits can handle the pressure.
So instead of the whole drill sergeant routine, they just toss them in the deep end and see who sinks or swims.
Exactly. And let's be real, panicking in the middle of a chaotic battle can get you killed in this game.
Can't argue with that logic. Speaking of panicking, poor Timo, right? Guy can't even swim. The chat practically explodes with him yelling for help, dodging arrows, and swearing his undying loyalty to the Republic, all at the same time.
It's kind of funny reading it back, but it does make you wonder just how far players will go to prove their loyalty to Brock and the regiment.
Right. Talk about pressure. And it's not just the physical stuff either. Brock grills them with questions while they're doing push-ups, faces buried in the sand.
Oh, absolutely. That's classic Brock. He's not just toughing them up physically, he's pushing them mentally too, seeing who breaks.
Yeah. So it's all about instilling that blind obedience, huh? Making sure they'll follow orders no matter what.
You got it. He's creating soldiers who don't hesitate, even for a second.
Reminds me of those stories of real-world military training, you know?
Yeah.
The unexpected, pushing past your limits, breaking you down to build you back up.
It's all about control, right? Brock doesn't just want to weed out the weak. He wants to be in charge, completely.
And that brings us to Brock's interaction with Ashton, our hopeful recruit. That's where things get, well, even more interesting, wouldn't you say?
You have no idea.
So I've got Brock, the regiment, and their unique training methods. But it gets even weirder when Brock starts interviewing Ashton, our potential recruit. This is where that drawing you mentioned comes in.
Oh, yeah, Brock's little art project.
Not exactly what you'd expect from a military commander, right?
Not unless they're sketching battle plans.
So we've got Ashton trying to make a good impression, answer all the questions, and Brock's just casually doodling a naked woman.
You gotta wonder what's going through Ashton's head at that point.
Talk about a power move.
Absolutely. It's like he's testing Ashton's focus.
Seeing if he cracks under pressure.
Exactly. Can Ashton keep his cool even with that kind of distraction?
And if you read the logs, you can practically see Ashton getting flustered.
Yeah, but you gotta give him credit. He tries to stay focused.
He really wants to be part of this regiment.
He's determined, that's for sure.
Which makes the whole thing even more interesting when you look at what Ashton wants versus what the regiment's all about. Ashton, he's got this kind of romanticized idea of being a soldier.
Yeah, he wants to be the hero, right?
Exactly. He's looking for a good story, something exciting. But Brock, he sings a different tune.
Yeah, he's not interested in fairy tales.
Remember what he said. He wants mean, biting bloodhounds.
Those were his words, not mine.
Not exactly the stuff of heroic legends, is it?
It's pretty clear Brock wants soldiers who get the job done no matter what.
And if they got to bend the rules a little, Well, that's just how it goes, like that whole thing with the Eskalonian longsword.
Oh yeah, those are top-tier weapons, super rare.
And somehow the regiment managed to get their hands on 3 of them.
From a contact of theirs, if I remember correctly.
And for a suspiciously low price.
Makes you wonder what they had to do to get those swords.
Right. It's like they're playing a whole different game here. And poor Ashton, he's so caught up in wanting to belong, he doesn't even stop to think about what it really means to be part of this group.
He's walking into a minefield and he doesn't even know it.
So we've got these brutal training tactics, the psychological pressure, and this whole web of shady dealings. But we haven't really talked about why anyone would actually want to join the regiment. You know, it can't just be the blunted arrows and the push-ups.
No, definitely not. There are definitely perks to being part of a well-established faction like this. Remember that whole thing with the writing supplies?
You mean when Brock told Ashton to gather quills and parchment for everyone?
Yeah, exactly. Seems kind of boring, right?
I mean, not exactly the most glamorous task for a recruit.
Remember how Tyrelos reacted?
He seemed almost jealous.
Exactly. It's like that simple task highlighted a key advantage of being in the regiment.
You get special treatment, even for the little things.
It makes you think twice about what other perks they might have, huh?
And don't forget, Ashton asked about carrying weapons within the city. Turns out the regiment can just bypass that law.
Which is a big deal in Eskalon Online, right?
Huge. Only certain people are allowed to carry weapons in the city.
Just goes to show how much influence the regiment really has.
Yeah, they're operating in a whole other level. And it makes you wonder, how far would they go to maintain that power? Especially considering those Eskalonian longswords.
They probably didn't get those through strictly legal means.
And the thing is, Ashton's so caught up in everything, he doesn't even stop to ask the tough questions.
He's so focused on the destination, he's not thinking about the journey.
Or who he might become along the way.
That's the real question here, isn't it? Will Ashton be able to hold on to his ideals?
Or will he turn into just another one of Brock's mean, biting bloodhounds?
Guess we'll have to wait for the next leak to find out.
That's the thing about these deep dives, isn't it? We get these little glimpses into this massive world, but there's always more to uncover.
Always more to discover.
So until next time, keep those theories coming.
And who knows, maybe we'll have even more leaked logs to dig into soon.
Until then, happy gaming, everyone.
What taste?